On this episode, Ellie gets a carburetor. Finally. We've been trying to figure out what to call this little series that we're doing. I think I have it figured out. It's going to be called Torque Wrenches and Tailwinds. Awesome, because it encompasses both things we're doing on this show. I answer some of those questions you had from last week, and we go for a beautiful evening flight. You won't see any wrenching from the shop this time because, well, I took off work to come be with the airplane while Jeff was fixing her. A rebuilt carburetor I'm super stoked about. So the carburetor cost about 150 bucks and this piece of paper cost the other 1,000. Certified. Pretty amped. I felt like it ran really good before, but everyone says when you get a new carb, you'll be shocked at how smooth it runs. She wants me to tell them what we're doing. And
okay.
So what are we doing?
Yeah, you're doing all the engine controls, and I'm checking the rigging and free of travel.
Okay, what first?
Do the carb heat.
Carb heat is cold, now I'm pulling it out.
And give it just a little bit of tug aft. Okay. All right, forward.
Okay.
All right, now do the mixture. Okay, and give it a little bit of tug aft. All right, looks good. Full rich.
Full rich.
Okay. Now the throttle should already be all the way out.
Throttle's out.
Okay. And go all the way forward.
All the way in.
Okay. And go all the way back. All right, we're looking good down here.
Hell yeah.
Yay!
We almost have an airplane here. It's a little too expensive just to be hanger art.
Yeah. We'll take it out and run it, make sure the idle and the mixture is set right.
Yeah, that'll work.
Everything's good, then we'll cal it back up.
Where do we set the idle at? I mean, where do you typically want it?
Between 6 and 700.
600, 700?
Yeah.
Because, you know, I've flown a lot of airplanes where when you pull it back to idle, they just die.
Yeah.
And this one, you can pull it back and it'll always just sit there and chug. And I love that about it. Exciting. We're about to crank it up. He said just do a normal cold start procedure, so fire it up, let it warm up. We'll turn it back off so that he doesn't get chop suey in the prop, and then he'll start adjusting it. Mixture's full rich. Prime. That's injecting fuel right into the cylinder. Okay. Got the brake, master's on, go 1/4 inch on the throttle. Clear prop. it cranked up really fast and ran pretty smooth. He's going to pull the idle up a little bit because it's idling at a little bit below 600, and that's the speed at which the engine tries to die. So just going to bump that up a little bit. That way when we pull it all the way back to idle, it runs smooth. We got the idle where we want it. Now he's messing with the mixture a little bit to make sure it's exactly where we want it to be. It's going good. It runs super smooth. Love it.
Bring it up to 1500.
1500.
Bring it back down to idle. Okay, slowly bring out the mixture, and we're watching for the bump and RPM is where it dies.
Okay.
Carburetor is done and adjusted.
Sweet.
Star 50 Sierra took 9-1A, west departure, Gumbo.
Jeff left a minute ago and the engine's still warm, so we're going to drain the oil out of it and get some new oil in there. I've only got about 35 hours on the oil, but it's been sitting, and I also noticed when we were in Indianapolis that we actually had some condensation on the stick. We're going to let some of it drain out, and then we'll take a little sample because we like to keep a trend of what the metal's doing in the oil. I would try to send it off every time and then keep track of it. And if anything trends up rapidly in between oil changes, we know that we're making metal somewhere. So we'll do that. You go take the dipstick out to give some ventilation to the engine. That should be plenty of oil to get the sludge or whatever is on the bottom. So I'm gonna get my sample now.
How's it sniff?
It smells good. Airplane oil smells awesome. It's gonna take a while for that to run, so I think this would be a good time. Keep looking at you instead. It's gonna take a minute for all that to run out, so I think this would be a really good time to address a couple of the questions that I had in the comments in the last video. There have been a lot of questions about how long does it take to become a pilot, how long have I been flying, and things like that. So I'll address a couple of them. I've been flying for, just saw on my timeline on Facebook, it was like 9 years, but I was only actively pursuing a pilot license for the last 5, in which 3 of it I've been licensed. It took me a lot longer than it should anybody else to get my license because I was only going out to the airport maybe once or twice a month for lots of reasons. I was running a business, I had to work, and I didn't have much money. So it took me a long time. I was about halfway through my training when we ended up buying this airplane, and so I actually finished up my license in this airplane, which is really cool, and that's a fun memory, and it's neat to have that in your logbook. The logbook's cool because I always make notes in it, and so it's almost like having a diary, except not girly. It's like cool and manly. Yeah, I'm gonna get attacked for that comment. What's the next question? I've heard that the average time it takes to become a pilot is about 55 hours. A lot of people can fly 2 hours a day and do that 3 times a week, so do your math on it. If you've got the funding in place, then that's how fast you can get done. Another question that came up a lot was, why am I not becoming an A&P? And there are a lot of reasons for that. One reason I'm transitioning out of being a diesel mechanic is because I care way too much about my customers. I stress about it. Anytime I build an engine and it leaves, I'm thinking about that person for 2 or 3 months, and every time I get a call from them, I assume the worst, like something has gone wrong with it, and that's something that just weighs on me. There's a lot of stress. With being a pilot, basically what happens is you go do your job. When you step off the airplane, you're done. On your days off, you don't have to think about it until you get back in the airplane next time. If I were an airplane mechanic, I would be in the same situation as a diesel mechanic, except it would be way more stressful because we're talking people's lives, not just their livelihood. And so that's something that I haven't done well with For years and years, I worried way too much about it. That's just one of the reasons I'm choosing not to do that for a career. Now let's talk about, as an owner-operator of a certified airplane, what I can and can't do. I cannot do major engine work like that carburetor we just did. That is off limits as an owner-operator. I cannot do it. Got to hire a certified mechanic for that. I can do things like change the tires, pack the wheel bearings, work on the brakes. I can change the oil myself. I can also change the light bulbs and the wingtips, and that's all fun stuff. So I get to come out here, get my hands dirty a little bit with the airplane, but I'm not doing any major stuff. There's a chance that I will get my A&P someday, but that's going to be years down the road, and it'll be from me helping my mechanic work on my airplane and logging that time. All that time would go toward what I need as a minimum to qualify to be an A&P myself. So while it's frustrating that I can't work on my own airplane in some ways, it's actually kind of a relief that I can't, because I have to rely on somebody else, which I'm not that good at. It's a good exercise for me. I want to answer a lot more of your questions, but the funny thing about it is I've actually learned a lot of this stuff before I put it on video and explain to you guys some of your questions. I want to go back and look at the regulations. I want to make sure I'm giving you actual, accurate information, because these videos are going to be out here forever and ever. I can see that it's done dripping oil now, so I'm going to close that valve and then we'll pull the filter off and put the new filter on and put some oil in it, and then go flying. Will you get me a solo cup? I gotta catch the oil. There's something I want in a solo cup a lot more than oil. Cut this safety wire off. We got the oil filter off. Now we're gonna use our little can opener thingamajigger. Open it and see if we find any metal in there. This reminds me of like one of the pipe cutter things that you use to cut the brake lines and stuff. I'm looking to see if there's any metal that's collected in here, and I don't see anything. This is beautiful. Got our new oil filter here. Put our date, takt time. I don't need to put a registration number. I only have one engine, so I don't have to put left or right. That'll help me keep track of it. When we bought Ellie, she just had a screen. There was like a canister here with a screen in it. And this is actually a modification you can do. This filter versus the screen allows us to go a little bit further on oil changes. And of course, it just keeps all the metal out. A lot of things on an airplane are safety wired because they don't want them backing off for obvious reasons. And I agree with them. I really would prefer my oil filter does not fall off mid-flight.
Drink up, Ellie. Last quart going in.
go. Let's see if she'll fly. Master is on. Got your seatbelt on. Doors locked. Did the pre-flight, all that good stuff. Fuel selectors on both. Avionics master's off. Circuit breakers in. We're gonna give it 2 pumps because we had it running earlier. Gonna go in a 1/4 inch on the throttle. Clear prop.
Ellie's running great.
Yeah, sounds good. Carmel City traffic, blue and white Skyhawk is midfield, back taxi 36 for 18 departure at Gun Barrel. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and use a little RPM here.
Yeah, just to test out.
Just kind of check that carburetor. Yeah, seems good.
Yeah.
I'll probably do a static run up down here. If everything looks good, we'll go ahead and take off. Stay in the pattern. We'll come around, do one pass over the runway, and then go do a little tour around the lake if everything's running good.
Perfect.
Got 1.8 in front of us. We have 1.8 on here. Check these. Doing what I want it to. Rudder's doing what I want it to. There we go, 1700 RPM. Man, it sounds so smooth. Oil pressure is good. Oil temp is up just a tiny bit. Ammeter's good. Suction is good. All right, we're gonna set. Got our altimeter set. Check our magnetos. Got a drop. Left magneto checks good. Back to both. Right magneto is good. Back to both. Carb heat. Got a drop out of it. Come back to idle. Run up's done. Everything's good. We are trimmed for takeoff. Flaps are normal. Got plenty of runway here, so we're not going to worry about them. Doors are latched. My window's latched. Yours is good. Lights, got the landing light on, the beacon on. We'll go ahead and flip the nav light on. 1229, that's where we're at. Mixture's full rich. We're good. Gummer City traffic, blue and white Skyhawk is taking off 1.8. We'll stay in the pattern at Gummer. I'm going to do a full throttle run up to make sure it's producing at least 2300 RPM because that's what I'm used to seeing. And that would indicate that I'm producing full power. Now I'm going to kind of abruptly pull it back to idle and see how it reacts to that. Okay.
She didn't mind it.
No, she didn't mind at all. So we're going to go ahead and do our takeoff roll. Midfield we'll assess. If I'm not happy at midfield, we'll just go ahead and abort the landing. We've got plenty of room to stop it by then. You ready?
Ready, good to go.
Here we go. All right. Airspeed's alive. Oil pressure looks great. All right, we're up there at the 2300 where I wanted it. 60 knots. And we're flying. That took about a 1/4 of the runway.
Easy breezy.
Climbing out at 76 knots. Oh, that doesn't suck.
That's beautiful.
Happy bird today. She's climbing at well above 1,000 feet a minute. All right, RPM's holding in there good. All right, we're already almost at pattern altitude. We're going to keep it kind of tight in here at the airport. And Gumbo City traffic, blue and white Skyhawk is turning left downwind, run 18 Gun Barrel. We'll do a low pass over the field. Gumbo City. Hadn't flown in so long I can't even talk on the radio. It really doesn't suck living here or flying out of here. That is beautiful. So we're going to take this in just like we're going to land it. So beam the numbers, carb heats out, go to 10 degrees of flaps. Going to keep this in close to the runway in case anything happens. Go ahead and get that 20 degrees of flaps in there. Gumbarrel City traffic, blue and white Skyhawk is turning final 18 Gumbarrel. Let's go do a touch and go. Right. Locked landing. For the go around, we're going to do full throttle, carb heat cold. Flaps retracted to 20, they're already at 20. Coming down at 70 knots, which is pretty much where I want it. All right, 60 knots over the fence.
Beautiful. Nice.
Okay, carb heat cold.
Throttle in.
And we were flying again.
Get it, Ellie. She's like, oh, we're on it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, man. Look at her climb.
All right, get some altitude here. Gumbel City traffic, blue and white Skyhawk is about 1,400 feet off the end of 18 heading south, Gumbel. Okay, it's starting to get dark. Not dark, that I was exaggerating. I'm not night current, so we need to go back and land. And not to mention with the new carburetor, I don't want to be flying around when I can't see what I need to land on.
Back to 74XA.
74 X-ray Alpha.
Aero Country Traffic, Warrior 47673, joining the downwind for runway 17, full stop, Aero Country Traffic.
Gumbel City traffic, blue and white Skyhawks 2 miles to the east, entering left downwind 17 Gumbel. 18 Gumbel. I'm listening to them at Aero Valley.
Traffic
Aero
99
Country,
Tango is upwind for 17, level 25.
and they're flying 17, so. Gosh, okay, landing lights on, nav lights on, beacons on, mixture's full rich. We'll make our turn for the downwind. All right, I got her on 70 knots. So funny how rusty you get from just a few days not flying.
Oh, yeah. Right, babe. Rusty. That was like butter.
All right, flaps coming up, carb heat's cold.
Nice, babe.
Thank you.
Yay. That was a beautiful flight.
We had a good day, had a wonderful flight. Airplane ran flawlessly like we expected it to. I hope you enjoy this. Again, like last week, leave comments below because that really helps us create content and to know what you guys want to see. Until then, see you next week.